Howdy survivors, welcome back to another build tutorial here on ARK Survival Ascended. And today we're building a train. High time of course, with the new DLC, the Tall Tales pack, where we have the trains now. And I've got a couple of different cart designs like the coal cart, but also a couple of different ones where you can do different interiors depending on what you want. Maybe a storage on the road, just a room to hang out and chill whilst you're moving bases. And of course, somewhere to respawn as well. I've got a couple of different cart designs, and of course, the interiors are completely up to you. Whatever you want and need on the road, you can design. Now, there is some overlapping involved in some of these, which might not be possible unofficial. So be warned, you probably have to check out and see for yourself if it actually works, because I don't play official, so I'm not sure. But there's a couple of different cart designs, including one that will be able to take some of your smaller to medium-sized dinos with you on the ways as well. So let's get started with this tutorial right now. Okay, let's get started by placing down the doors on the end of this cart. This I used as my storage cart, but of course you can design the interior however you like. We'll place down some quarter walls right here next to it to change the alignment slightly. Add 2 windows on both sides, and then we'll add in a normal wall so we can just extend it slightly out from the normal size of this platform. Then we'll add in these ceilings on the end so that we fill this in, and there we go. We'll have the ceilings go from the end. We'll have a little gap between them. There's like room for some quarter ceilings in between, so we'll fill that right in as well. So that's the start of the cabin like this. Then actually want to remove the ceiling on the end for a little bit so that we can get the snap points for the end of the cart here. Place down 2 quarter walls so we can snap a door to it. There we go. And then we probably want some quarter walls on the side as well to finish off this shape, of course. And then you should have something with this, with the inner wall. And then we'll add in all the doors everywhere, as well as the windows, of course, just so that we don't forget about adding those in actually. And then we're pretty much good to go. We'll do the same door design on the end, so 2 quarter walls on each side, and then the door lines up with the middle of the cart, which just looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. And then we should have something like this. It's probably a good time now to add the pillars to add a little bit more structure. So you want to add one there and right there on the end of the cabins. And there we go. So both sides we do the same. So we do the same thing for both sides, and then we'll add in some beams on the top of this as well, just to finish off that design. Lining them up right so. Probably want to overlap somewhere. It doesn't really matter where you overlap actually. Just need to do it somewhere. I like to do it at the same spot so it looks similar on both sides. And then we'll have the beams here as well, of course. For this part, it might be a little bit tricky because not always it allows you. So you might have to remove the pillar for a little bit, just so that you can do the right snap points. Because as you can see, it wants to snap to all different things. So if you have the same issue as I'm having right now, what you might want to do is remove some of the wall here. And there we go. If we remove this wall, we can actually snap to the end of it. Then we can line up the beams in the way that we want. So above the little wall we made, and then we can remove the pillar again and build it back the way we had it, so a wall, and then just have the beams on the top of it like normal, like we did on the other side as well. There we go. We'll add in some ramps to the top of this cart just to fill in the shape. We'll line them up like so they end with the little extra wall we made. This is where we want to place down some of the fences just to have a little bit more support for a roof, and then we'll fill in the last remaining bit with a little overlap, just so that we have the full roof for everything. And there we go. We'll fill in this with fences as well, just so that it is the same on both sides. There we go. Train starting to look quite nice already. Of course, we'll still need to change the textures at some point. For now, we're going to add in some of the quarter ceilings right here, because I like to make some walkable parts on top of the train, so you can have a proper western shootout on top of your train heist. So yeah, I just like to add this in. I like the shape it adds to the card as well. So we'll add in some fences below just as a little bit of extra details as well. So we'll just go along like this, connecting them back up to the ramps. And there we go. We'll just connect it all the way up like so. And that's pretty much the whole design going for us. Actually, I forgot to add back the pillar there. Let's add that back in. And then we can pretty much go around and change everything to the frontier skins to get the final look for our train. Because, I mean, it looks a lot nicer if you do. So let's go around, change it all. And of course, the windows, we actually want to use the glass texture for because it looks a lot nicer that way. And you're done. Okay, the next card, we're going to start by extending this with a quarter ceiling, just so that we can snap the door actually here to the end and get a little bit of extra space. Then we can just start adding in ceilings. I think you probably could remove the quarter ceiling at some point, but just not to risk it because sometimes it does get rid of stuff. You could test it out, but if you have overlapping, it doesn't really matter. We'll add in some normal walls on the end as well to mirror the doors that we've placed down. And then in between, we actually want to go with some quarter walls. So we're going to line up the doors here first to the cabin itself with having these 2 quarter walls on the end. And then we actually want to connect this whole thing with quarter walls. You'll see in a moment why. But just, you know, connect it all. This card, by the way, definitely needs overlapping. So even if you want to remove the first one, there will be some overlapping eventually. There we go. We'll add in the doors now as well to the middle of these. There we go. So we have the actual compartment. And then we'll add in the doors everywhere just to complete the look as well. Now, the whole thing about this card is that we're going to change the skins of these right now because we're going to place different walls in them later. So if you want to paint any of this, you definitely want to paint at least these quarter walls right now so you don't get any issues. We'll add in some pillars here on the corners as well as proper supports for the carts. And then we can connect the beams on top of these as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to snap the walls into these quarter walls that we've already placed down. Because we're going to use the window glass skin on these so that we get some cool looking windows. Of course, connect the beams up from the top as well and above the doorpost that we made before too, so that we get this shape going on. And then what we actually want to do is start changing some of the skins. And as I said, these are going to be glass walls so that we get those smaller little windows that really look like some train windows to me. So that's why you want to do the other ones first, just to make it easier for yourself. Then we'll add in the roof. It's going to be quite similar to the one we did before. So just have ramps connecting above all of these. Should be no overlapping. Should be quite easy to just place them down like this. And then, yeah, we'll go for a similar design again on the roof here as well. I want to make sure that it's possible to have some train heist going on. So we'll make some platforms here on the top. Add in the quarter ceilings first, and then we can line it up with normal ceilings in between so that we have this whole walkway, and then have some railings underneath the edges here just to finish that look and connect it properly back up to the train. Just looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. So we just want to connect this all up like so until we are here at the end. And then actually underneath here, we want to also add in some of these railings under the roof just to finish this shape and make it feel more connected, because unfortunately there's no like sloped wall on this level of slope, which would be really nice, but still not there in official ARK. Of course you could do this with mods more easily. And then once we've placed these last few pieces down, we can of course change everything back to the frontier skin to finish off this look. Alright, the next one, we're gonna start right easy with some doors right there. And then we can have a normal wall against that. We'll connect this up with some quarter walls as well. Basically to do a very similar window design that we did on the previous card. So you want to have something like this. And then on the end we'll place down these 2 quarter ceilings on top of each other so that we can have the door in the middle again. right there. And then we actually want to add in a quarter ceiling on the floor right here, just so that we can get a different snap point for a full ceiling on the end right there. So a little overlap to the outside, and then just fill in normal ceilings everywhere else. And then we'll actually add in the door here in the middle as well. We add in a door right there, because we're going to add a little extra compartment here on the end, just to give you some variation in cart sizes basically. So you should have something like this right now. We'll actually want to have an extra snap point, so remove this ceiling for now so that we can have the door in the middle here again. Or you could have it to the side, whatever you really prefer, and then you can add in the ceiling back again in the end. So they have this little compartment at the end of our train, and we'll start adding in all of the doors everywhere. Then we probably want to start by changing the skins for the quarter walls again, just as we did before. And if you want to paint them, I would suggest painting them now. It just makes it a whole lot easier before snapping in these walls that we're going to change to the glass skin to create our little wall design, or window design I should say, for this compartment again. I just really like the look of this for a train. And then what we want to do is start adding in the pillars right here on the corners, just nice and easy, nothing too difficult or fancy this time. And then we can of course connect them up with beams as well. So let's go ahead and just do exactly that, connect everything with some beams to finish off the design and structure of this cart as well. So we should have it like this right now. And then of course we'll add in the same ramps as we've done everywhere to make the roof of this cart design. There we go, and we'll just connect it up all the way. And then we want to have some quarter ceilings on top again, just to align, so we can make the little walkway on top, because we've got to have some ability to do some heist. And as well, it's just a nice way to walk around the train, or even park some dinos on top of your train if you want to take them with you. We'll have the railings underneath again to just connect it back to the rest of the design, and underneath here as well, just to fill in this little gap, make it look a little bit more structured and well connected to the rest of the train and the rest of the design. We do the same thing on this end as well, just to finish off that shape in a nice way. And yeah, that pretty much does it. So of course now we'll have to change the skins everywhere. And you want to actually add in one here on the inside as well, above the extra wall that we created, if you want to complete the full look. And then we should have something that looks like this. Now for the Dino Cart, we want to actually start with 2 double doors here, and then connect some quarter walls against it, just to finish off this shape. Actually have some quarter walls above the doors as well, because this cart is going to be slightly higher, just to give the dinos inside a little bit more room. Some quarter walls all along the bottom on the one side, and then we'll create a door shape on the other side. And then here you can just add the quarter walls at least to the end. You could do the same design as on the other side here, but I like to just have the quarter walls go all the way through. And then instead of having the double doors at the bottom as proper doors, I like to add them here above and use them as like a bigger window. Here we want to add in a small door to connect to the rest of the train design that we made, and then fill in the remaining parts with normal walls as well, just to fill in this whole shape. There we go. We'll fill in the last walls. It took a little while, but they got there. And then we want to add some pillars on the corners. Make sure to overlap them though, because otherwise they're sticking out at the bottom. And I don't like that look, so just make sure that you have all the corners done like so. And then of course we can connect the beams between them as well, to make sure that it looks all strong and supported as well. There we go. That's a good start. We'll add in the doors everywhere now as well, just to make sure that we don't forget about those. And then we can actually have some ramps. We're not going to ramp the entire thing, because I like to have a gap in the middle, so you can still drop in some dinos as well with an RG or something. So we want to have just ramps on these sides, and then we'll have the quarter ceilings on top to still create that little walkway that we have everywhere, the little design that we've done so far. Then we can have railings here to connect to the structure, make it look more supported. Underneath the ceiling edges as well. Here on the back again below the ramp, and then on the ceiling edge here as well. And we do the same thing on the other side, of course. So have it underneath the edges and underneath the ramps, just so that everything feels more connected and more properly structured as well. And that actually goes a long way for this design. Then of course we want to update the skins. You want to use the jail doors on all the doors that we have, just because, I mean, it is a sort of card, or yeah, it's not really a prison. You could use it as a prison card, I guess. And I do like to add the thatch ceilings to the bottom as well, just to make it look like there's some hay on the ground for your dinos. And that is pretty much all you need to do to finish off this Dino Cart. And then we have the coal cart, which is probably mostly for looks, but I think it looks nice. I'm using the tech here because I like the clean look of these walls, but you could also do this with metal instead. We're going to paint it afterwards anyway, so we add in the normal walls, then some slope walls against them. Then we'll overlap with some quarter walls right here to basically make a little like mine cart or coal cart shape out of this thing. So it should look something like this. Nice and easy. And then we'll actually go about and do the inside. Now you could actually just go and place around the normal crop plots now, but it's easier if you just fill in it with ceilings, because then you can just snap to everything. And then you can actually start placing down and snapping the crop plots to every one of these ceilings, except the last one. Because what I like to do is have the small crop plots at the end, so you can't snap them, you have to manually line them up like this. But then you get a little bit of extra space left in the cart where we can have some useful forges. Then we want to enable snapping again and raise these up to be 3 high in total. Because that fills up the cart a little bit nicer than just the bottom layer basically. So we'll do that for every one of them. Also the small ones, of course, make sure that you snap onto them as well. And then you should have something like this. And what I like to do, have some forges in this little part here. Just because then it actually has some purpose to serve as well, because you could smell some stuff on the go. And then you want to grab some paint and paint everything black just to make it look a little bit nicer. You could even paint the whole card itself. And this is why I'm using tech, because the painted tech just looks really, really nice. And also the things inside will paint completely black, so it looks more like coal. That's the whole reason we use these crop plots. And yeah, there you have a proper little coal cart for your train, which doesn't really have that much purpose, but it does look really cool and adds a lot of character to it. And there we go. Well, let's take a little tour of my full train, including all the interiors I made. So we got the train cart here, where you would drive the train from. It's a little bit difficult, but you could, I guess, jump onto the coal cart in some places. And then you have some access to it. It's more for looks, as I said before. And this one is my storage cart, so there's a bunch of vaults in here, some treasure chests, just, you know, a lot of storage on the go, and a little crafting station here as well. Easy access to the platforms. Then the next cart, some extra storage here, just for details, basically. Then this is my lounge. I've got a poker table on the go, and some proper chairs and piano and everything, so you can just hang out with friends, chill. You basically have a home away from home, on the go, wherever your train leads you. A generator here on the middle cart as well, so it extends to the most amount of platforms. We got a little fridge here, some storage, and just spawn points, which is very nice, of course. That wherever your base is where your spawns are, which is really nice. And very important, this extra compartment I made into a little toilet room, because you need to be able to go on the move as well. And then, of course, the last one is the Dino Cart, which just is a nice place to move some dinos with you. With that being said, that is this design for the train. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.